Angry Guy here, and today we're discussing why are young women rapidly passing away? Why are young women rapidly passing away? Let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
What's good, folks? Welcome back to the Furnished Mind. And remember, Christ is King. Let's go. Millennial women in the U.S. are facing the first active decline in well being since World War II, with self deletions, debt, and cost of living skyrocketing. It just so happens you can kind of call it whatever you want to call it, the gender wars, or just these relationship conversations seem to just be all over the internet, social media. And guys, it just happens to be there's truth behind a lot of these conversations. Let's go ahead and just take a dive and what are some of the contributing factors? What's going on here, and why is the well-being of U.S. women declining? So for decades, young women have seen steep improvements in their well-being and future prospects, but that appears to be coming to an end. A report by the Washington, D.C.-based think tank revealed progress for the group is reversed for the first time since the 1930s. Let's keep that in mind. Researchers at the Population Reference Bureau found that the well-being index for millennial women declined to 94 out of 100 for millennials, a 6% drop from the previous group, and the first since the silent generation reported a score of 45. And the silent generation, of course, went through world wars and the Great Depression, all valid reasons for why they would have scored 45 out of 100. Experts said the well-being decline of young millennials was being driven by factors including rising inflation, forcing up the cost of necessities, combined with rising social media use, which leaves many feeling isolated and disconnected. So let's kind of start right there. So of course, to be a millennial in the United States of America means you're part of the most prosperous demographic, probably of all time. I think it's very easy to say of all time. The most affluent nation in the history of the world. And to be a female, thanks to Obama, women are considered a minority group as well. So why is it that the most secure and the most affluent generation of women just so happen to have a decline in the well-being index? The first reason we have here is rising inflation. It's true. Everybody understands how bad our economy is right now. You see our president just so happens to allow for the hemorrhaging of money here in our country. Every other day, there's a multi-billion-dollar foreign aid package for another nation. He seems to be taking care of everything else. But the problems we have here that can kind of alleviate the issues that we're having economically. Gas prices are always fluctuating, but for the most part, they're remaining high. The price of groceries, there was just a viral post about there was a scene in Home Alone 2 where Kevin purchased groceries, and they're comparing the prices to modern grocery day prices, and it's unbelievable how far inflation has taken us. And you know what? There's one thing, Mr. Bernie Sanders, as funny and as crazy as he looks, said that I always quote. He always said that it's expensive to be poor, and that I can always agree with. In no way am I a socialist, but that is true. It is very expensive to be poor, and those who are in the lower income, lower middle class brackets, you will feel the ebbs and flows of our economy and inflation. The next cause is social media use. So this is one that seems to hurt females more than males. There are a lot of studies on this, and basically females, when they hop onto social media, it's very easy for them to compare themselves and tear themselves apart, pick apart at their looks and their self-worth, because every time they open their phone, they're seeing another beautiful girl with another perfect figure. And of course, most of these pictures are photoshopped and they're altered in some way or form. But especially if you're a young girl, you don't know this. You don't know how to discern between it. And there are adult women who can't discern between the two. That's the whole point of having Photoshop and other photo editors. but they're comparing themselves and they're just killing themselves mentally and emotionally because you can't live up to a false expectation. A lot of social media posts, people don't realize they're being flooded with AI personalities. There's fake AI generated females that are designed to be perfectly beautiful according to Western standards. And a lot of people can't tell if they're fake or they're real. And young girls compare themselves to this and they hate it. They have poor self image. They don't think they're worthy. They grow up with these defeated mindsets, and that contributes to them not feeling attractive enough or worthy enough to try to form long standing relationships. And then also, it stated that it leaves a lot of.
So, guys, it's really interesting what's happening in Western society with modern day women. These women are passing away rapidly. They are now passing away faster than women who were born in 1928. We talked about this earlier. US millennial women are now more likely to pass away in their late 20s and early 30s than any generation since the World War II era. So they are more likely to pass away in their late 20s and early 30s than women who were born in 1928. Guys, it's amazing how this is happening, and modern women are not taking it as a wake up call. There is nothing that can stop them at this point. They are too far gone. We are seeing the consequences of feminism. We're seeing the massive effects it's having on their livelihood and their lives. They cannot stop, even as they are beginning to decline spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally. They are too far gone. They no longer are operating in their own self best interest because they don't know what that is anymore. They are more attracted to toxic people than they are to people who will help to ensure their survival. They are too far gone. Look at what happened with Tia Mari. She claims that she was never in the streets. But what did she do? She left her husband, who she said was a good guy, gave her a good family, because she was bored, and has now returned to the streets from whence she came. The reason why I say that is it's quite simple, because in every little girl there is the streets, and you can take the girl out of the streets, but you cannot take the streets out of the girl. I've said that countless times, and now you're seeing that for yourselves. US millennial women saw their well-being decline, a first in modern times, per nonprofit PRB. Women being deleted, maternal mortality, and self-deletion rates have all increased for women ages 25 to 34. And this is a sudden reversal in progress for young women's safety, which comes despite an improved economic status. Well, here's the thing, guys. The economy is terrible. This is a false economy. We're living under massively high inflation. People cannot survive. Now, of course, no one cares what happens to men because men have had high self-deletion rates for decades. No one has cared. Men have had high rates of homelessness for decades. Nobody cares. But now that it's affecting women, now that women are self-deleting at significant rates, they're being deleted at significant rates, their well-being has decreased so substantially. That's when people start talking. And of course, what are they going to say? Well, the men need to do something. There's nothing more to be done. Give them more money, funnel more money to them. All the money goes to women's health care. More money, more money is spent on reproductive health for reproductive research in dogs every year than in reproductive research for men. No matter the amount of money that they funnel in to new programs for women's health, it won't make a difference. At the end of the day, it's because of the decline of the family, the decline of marriage, the decline of relationships. Women say that men are the ones who benefit most from marriage. This is not true. It is women who benefit the most from marriage. Men walking away are now basically finding themselves living higher quality lives, less stress, more peaceful. And guess what? They can take better care of themselves now. Because if a man doesn't have a wife and children to take care of, when he's not feeling well, he's now more inclined to go and seek out critical care. He's more likely to get proper rest. He's more likely to spend money on himself to take proper care of himself. Eat well, sleep well, live well, work out. Without the family unit in Western society for a man, because the family unit has become so toxic for decades now, men are prospering and actually living higher quality, better lives without the constant nuisance of having to deal with someone who resents you for simply existing. What we're seeing right now with women in Western society are the consequences for feminism. They are making up the highest rates of college graduates. So, like in many places, over 70% of college graduates are women. Women make up the majority of all students in medical schools now. Women make up the majority of all doctors in the United States and the vast majority of all doctors in the United Kingdom. And that number is only rapidly rising in both countries. Women are the vast majority of all nurses. Between 80 and 90% of all nurses are female. Most of the medical field is completely comprised of women. Most phlebotomists are women. So women are also out-earning men substantially in the workforce when you control for experience, education, number of years worked. This has been happening for 50 years now. Women have actually been out-earning men for 50 years. And that number is actually rising. So women are now out-earning men even more. Despite what they say, and despite all these gains and inroads, they're not doing well. You know why? Because look at the lives that they live. Look how much they drink. They drink more than men, or as much as men now. We've seen the studies that women are now drinking as much as men, as much as grown men. Even though they are physically smaller than men, they're drinking as much as men. What do you think that's doing to them? Their bodies are exhausted. They're burning the candle at both ends, and yet they don't care. This is the consequence that women will have to face for feminism. They had their fun. Now they're going to get their punishment. They're going to face the consequences as a result of their actions. Guys, what do you think about this? Why are young women rapidly passing away? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments, so let's talk about them there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA. Men walking away, and cheers.